Well, hello there, whoever. Say, I've got this really weird impromptu thought, so this is going to be a weird impromptu bit. I have this habit, and I know it's not normal, it's probably not even relatable, it's just purely a product of my own OCD, and I recognize that. Every year when the nominations come out for the Academy Award for Best Picture, I always say to myself, this is the year I'm going to watch all of them and I'm going to formulate all of my opinions before the ceremony night. But it never happens. You know why? Because there are always one or two, usually two or three movies on that list that I know are just going to be too much of a slog for me to sit through. And things were really looking bright for a while for this year's nominees. But the more I hear and read about the situation, the more I just don't think I'm going to be able to stomach Amelia Perez. That's just the way it is. At least not with illegal blood alcohol content. And maybe I can just stay in for the night, make myself comfy, but folks, that's what, 2 hours and 20 minutes of my life I'm not getting back. We'll see. But even if it doesn't happen this year, there is something I noticed, and this is a real silver lining for me, very special about the animated features. And this makes a little more sense because there are only 5 nominees instead of 10. But I'm not only willing to watch all of those, but I'm looking forward to each of them. And when I say look forward to, I mean the ones I haven't seen yet. I did watch The Inside Out 2, and I thought it was great. I didn't think, like the majority, that it was as good as the original, but I also don't think that's really a fair assessment because this was the second film, so the novelty had worn off, and I'm going to say more about that in the follow-up video to this, but for now, just looking at the ones I haven't seen, I'm just going to rattle these off with my initial impressions one by one before I actually watch them all before the awards night. Okay, starting with the first that I'll probably watch before the others because it's the shortest, is Flow. Now, this really intrigues me for a few reasons. I mean, generally speaking, I just love animals. I'm a cat person, and I really like that this one has a cat protagonist because animated kids films tend to villainize felines unfairly, I think, especially the old Disney movies like Cinderella, Lady and the Tramp. I'm glad that Pixar's soul kind of got away from that with Mr. Minns, and that was just a great movie anyway. But speaking of Pixar, I like how Flow seems to have a very similar premise to WALL-E, which is not one of my favorite Pixar movies, but it's still a great one in that there are a bunch of cutesy characters in a mostly seemingly silent film, and it's in a post-apocalyptic landscape. And I just love when there are premise similarities like that so I can compare and contrast, figure out if they're really as similar as I thought they'd be, or are they more different than I was expecting, and regardless, with the similarities that are there, which did what better. I also love that this is from Latvia. I mean, this is a small country that obviously I'm going to be rooting for. I mean, I live here in Massachusetts, so that they're about, less than a third the size of my home state, so yeah, go them! The Wild Robot is the one I'll probably watch after that because Cards on the Table, I just really love any work of media that is about robots or just features a lot of robots. So if anything meets that description, I will most likely read/play/watch it unless it is clearly something that's going to be absolutely horrible. And with that said, though, the fact that this was very well acclaimed anyway just sells me completely. I mean, plus, DreamWorks has been thought to be on a quality uptick the past few years. That's good too. I am, however, going to read all 3 of the books before I watch the film, and I can easily do that before the award ceremony because they're short, they're kids' books, I'm a quick reader. I just really want to do that because DreamWorks Home was such a bastardization of the true meaning of Smack Day that I want to cover all my bases. I know if there was something similar to that kind of discrepancy, I probably would have known about it by now, but I just don't want to risk it. That was such a tragedy. Okay, second to last, first of the 2 stop motion films on the list, Memoir of a Snail. Oh man, this looks so good, but so sad. In fact, I saw the trailer when I went to see Anora with my husband and cousin, and right after we walked out of the theater, I said, I really want to see that claymation movie, but I'm going to have to be in a really good headspace for it. And as soon as I say that, I think of this song lyric from South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. I'm not going to say it here, but it's the one where someone sings about how they're so happy that they won't even be able to sympathize with someone being in a certain situation. And if you know, you know. That's obviously hyperbole, but that just gave me the similar idea of how I'll really have to be emotionally on guard to watch this film. And I also to watch Mary and Max, which I know is from the same creator, which also I put on off watching because I hear it's very good, but very sad. But yeah, I should probably just rip that Band-Aid off and watch it before Memoir of a Snail, before the award ceremony, especially as an autistic person. I'm not going to be able to watch them one night after the other, though. That's going to be too intense. Maybe I can watch Amelia Perez the night between, so at least I can laugh at that. Maybe that'll be the perfect antidote. Saving the one I'm looking most forward to for last, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul. Now, the reason I'm looking most forward to watching this is for the same reason that I know this will surprise me the least out of all of them. I've been a fan of this franchise since early elementary school, even since kindergarten, I think. Heck, I just love British humor in general. And a little off topic, I know, but I don't even understand why British humor is thought of as being dry. Because I know there's less physical and bodily humor than in American media, but even when the humor just comes from the words, I feel like those words are zany enough where it is funny on its own. But you know what? I know that humor is probably the most subjective form of any art, any media at all, so trying to figure that out is probably a fool's errand. And with that said, that's all I've got to say at the moment. I'll make another similarly rapid fire but a slightly longer video about my feelings of all these films when I've watched them all. That's it. I mean, if this is another year that goes by where I don't watch all of the Best Picture nominees, and at least I've been able to watch all the Best Animated nominees and, you know, be able to check that bucket list entry off or watch all of a year's nominees in some form. You know, it's a very small, unimportant one, but still a bucket list item. So that's all for now. See you later, folks. Bye.